Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a very long time since I last gave you a video. Happy New Year. My name is Dennis Duke Onyala. If you're new here, ensure that you subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on different social media platforms at Dennis Duke UG. Today we drove to Luwero district and we're in a village called Bamunanika just after Chichusa Trading Center or Chichusa Town. Why we're here is because we want to talk about avocado. This year I promised to extend to crop production and we're starting this year with Hass Avocados. And to discuss this with me is a lovely lady, Maria.
Thank you.
How are you, Maria?
I'm good, thank you. How
Thank
are
you for inviting us to your farm and giving us an opportunity to talk. How have you been?
I've been very well.
How is the weather here? Today it's been really cold. Is this how the weather is like every single day?
No, we actually have really a lot of sunshine in this area.
Okay.
Just by the name, it's in Luwero and you branch off at Kasana, and that's a Luganda word that means...
oh, Kasana means sunshine.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
But we have been blessed. Okay. We're very lucky that today the skies opened up.
Okay.
A little bit, not as much as we would have preferred.
Okay.
But inshallah, it's the beginning of the season.
Please, introduce yourself in a short while before we go into the matter today.
So my name is Maria Lovens Tusingvire Jorgensen.
I love Jorgensen. That's like a German or an...
It is Danish.
It's the Danish.
It is Danish, and it's my Marito name.
Oh.
Yeah, my husband is from Denmark.
Okay.
I live in Denmark. We have been married for the last 17 years, and we have 3 kids together.
Okay.
So this is pretty much a family passion, you could call that. I love farming, and I really have to say that I'm very lucky that I had a man who also shared my dream.
Has the same
passion? Not necessarily the passion. He doesn't understand farming that much, but he has faith in me.
Okay.
So that's really very important, that he has faith, blind faith you could call it.
Okay.
First he's from Denmark, I'm Ugandan, knows nothing about farming, but he agreed to this.
Okay.
So to me that's really very key, but that's who I am. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and Ugandan.
She talks about something very unique, and I think let's start with that. But we're going to talk about how to grow these type of avocados. We have the manager who is also going to briefly talk to us a little later. I don't know if it's in this same video or another video, but please be sure to check out on my channel in case you miss out that part. But let's start from here. The question now is, how do you manage agriculture when you're not available 24/7 on ground? Because you tell us you stay in Germany, rather Denmark.
Yes.
How do you manage that?
It's a challenge. It's not been easy, but I have to say whoever invented WhatsApp and technology, may they get long life. I'll say this in Runyankole if you don't mind. That means may they live long and may they have a good life. Because if it wasn't for WhatsApp, for video calling, for phone calls every day, I never would have been able to pull this off. But we try. It has, of course, challenges, but with dedication and passion and the fact that we have a very good team. Jackie, she's really been like a breath of fresh air for this farm. Had our teething problems, which could have been maybe minimized if I was around more. But we learn and we move on. I travel here back and forth a few times a year. It's the best I can do. Okay. Yeah.
So there are so many crops that you could probably have chosen. Why did you choose this avocado?
I chose this, not just any other avocado, but Hass, mainly because there's the climate factor. Hass, it's a fruit that grows on tree. So I wanted to create an impact in terms of environmental protection and to avoid environmental degradation. But then also, while at it, I thought, why not have some income? Why not have some fun? Plus, my kids, they really love avocado. If Lisa, that's my eldest, is watching this, and my son Axel, my last born, I'll dedicate this to them because they eat simply way too much of it. So it's something that is very personal to me in that it's a very popular food in my family. But then also I wanted to have an impact, to give back home, to create an impact on our environmental protection. And another advantage is, especially since I live a bit far, it's the benefit that once you plant one Hass avocado tree, yeah, it will take about 5 to 7 years before it reaches maturity for full production, but it will be in yield for the next 80 years, 80. So to me, that was a worthwhile investment because I wanted something that I plant once. It might take long to get a return on investment, even 10 years, but the moment it's in bloom, then it will last for more than 50 years, I could say. So I was looking for something that was more long-term and has happened to be the choice.
Okay, that's a good one. But let's go in depth about this particular type of avocado. What is so special about them?
I mean, they're very special in that, apart from, of course, that it tastes really good compared to, no offense, our local variety. It has a very high fat content, which is very nutritious. Its oil content is extremely high compared to the other varieties. Of course, I just mentioned that the tree lasts longer. It will be in
existence for even more than 50 years.
For the next generation. So once you plant this, you're planting for the next generation. It's a legacy, you could say that.
Okay.
It fetches good price on the market because its shelf life, this fruit can last for more than a month.
When it gets ready?
Yes.
Wow.
Like what they do, you've just seen we had an agronomist here a few minutes ago. Once they see the size has reached the export size, they check the water matter, and the moment I think it's 23, once they think it's ready, it's edible, you harvest it.
Okay.
And then you can keep it for more than a month. So that way it's easy for transportation because a big market for us is in Europe and overseas. So transportation, which is not like our local variety, that the moment it's ready, within a week it's perishable.
Yeah.
This will be on the shelf. It can even take more than 6 weeks before it reaches the consumer. So it's a very popular choice also for exporters. And oil, obviously. Now you see avocado oil, there's cosmetic line. So there's a lot of stuff. Plus, it's a tropical fruit or crop, which means that Uganda, being a tropical country, we are at a huge advantage.
Okay.
We can grow it. I know it requires a lot of water, but we do have rainfall, ample rainfall, 2 times a year. And we have all the floods. We can harvest water. Like we have, you've seen our water dam. We harvest water and we pump to the crops. So we're doing development, but we're also mindful for our environment. Yeah, it can only grow in the tropics. So you could see that Uganda as a country, we are also at an advantage. Europe, they eat this so much, but they cannot grow it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it can only be grown either here or South America or Australia or even India, countries that really have enough sunshine or tropical weather.
Okay.
So in a nutshell, that's why I settled on Hass.
Perfect. So take us through. How do we start? Do I just go to the market and buy seeds? How is it done?
I would not recommend that you simply go to the market and voila, and get your fruit or seedling and plant it.
So let me take, for example, if I got that and I ate it and I got the...
It will not germinate.
Why?
Because this is a grafted version. And the seed is very tiny. If you bought this from the market, the seed is very tiny, it's not viable. It would not germinate.
Okay.
So what the nurseries do, or the people who raise them, they get our local variety avocado, they call that the rootstock, and then they get some branches from the Hass variety and they graft it. And then the grafted beet. So if you look at my tree, the one in the soil is the rootstock, which is the local variety, and then the top part is the Hass avocado. So if you would like to go this route, I would recommend that you seek out for a certified nursery company, people that really do this as a business. Number one, or the most important reason being that if they give you something that you're going to raise or take care for the next 5 years before you get any fruit, you're able to go back if the variety is not, if it doesn't yield what you bought, for example. I mean, just imagine how many people are still in business by the roadside in the next 5 to 6 years? Not very many. So if you pick up a seedling from the roadside, you risk that you'll invest heavily in the fruit because it's not very easy to actually grow Hass. You need to put manure, you need to water them, you need to take care of them. So after 5 years, it gives you the wrong fruit.
Yet you've wasted all those years and all the investment.
That can really send someone into a depression.
Okay.
So I would recommend that someone goes to a certified nursery manager. And they start from there.
Okay.
And
there are no seeds like
work.
on the market, like maybe I can import seeds. Just I do the seeds myself.
You don't plant seeds. You plant the grafted beet. So the seeds, we have the seeds from our local avocado. It's the science. For example, like here, maybe in a few months we might be able to get our own science. But we have very few companies that do that now in Uganda. Personally, I buy, or we buy, from a company called White Oak. Okay. They have their nursery in Mitiana Road, and we've been very, very happy with them. We know that they import their seedlings from Kenya, actually, but we have been very, very happy with
their products.
Yeah, I mean, you can see.
Yeah, sure.
These are less than 3 years,
okay,
and we're already harvesting.
Perfect. So after getting the grafted planting, I don't know, call them seedlings or planting stock.
Seedlings, yes.
Yes. What next?
You have to open up your land,
okay,
assuming that it's bushy or virgin land. Then I'll tell from my personal experience. We had graders coming here and removing all the tree stumps. Then we had a tractor, and then you have to dig pits or holes 2 feet down, 2 by 2. You backfill the soil, you get the loam soil, backfill it at the bottom.
Yes.
And then put the seedling, the grafted seedling, and then fill up. Rather, you put the manure. When you backfill the soil, you put on one basin of manure. It could be goat manure, it could be anything. And then you cover with the soil that was at the bottom of the pit.
Okay.
And you mulch it and you water it.
Why mulching?
Because mulching keeps the moist in the soil. Okay. And it also obviously... It's basically to keep the moisture in the soil, but also to prevent a lot of weed from spreading or growing very fast. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay. So after planting, you've done the manure and everything.
You maintain the weeds.
Oh, you maintain the weeds. It should be weed-free.
Weed-free, because the moment it sits in a bush or in weeds, that's a recipe for disaster, because that's like inviting all the pests and diseases to come and infest your tree. Okay. So you have to really, really make sure that it's weed-free. It's weed-free. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Wow, yes. That's interesting.
It is.
Some good work there.
Thank you.
After you've done all that, do you need to put manure all the time, or you have to buy fertilizers and spraying? Like any other plant?
Manure like any other plant. Personally, at Jorgensen's farm here, we put our manure every season. Okay. Because
and what is a season to us here?
A rainy season. So we put twice a year, because in Uganda we have 2 rainy seasons. But usually when the rain's about to stop, we put manure and we mulch all our trees, because that means that as the dry season sets in, or as the dry period sets in, that our trees, because we talked that mulching maintains the moisture in the soil, that means that our trees are actually continuing to eat despite the fact that the drought has set in. And even when we water our plants, when we put on water, it means that our trees they are still getting a lot of nutrients from the manure that we've put. So we always do, we put manure on our trees at the onset, or before the onset of the dry season.
Okay. Yeah. You talked about digging 2 feet deep and 2 feet wide. How about the spacing?
We did 5 by 5.
5 what feet?
5 feet by 5.
Okay.
So in an acre we have about between 150 and 160 in an acre. Yeah.
150 stalls, like those, like avocados.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait, in an acre you have 150.
Yes.
So how big is your plantation here?
We have 40 acres.
Jesus
We have
Christ.
40.
That's quite...
We have a population of, the projected population, it should be about 6,400 trees.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. How do you manage them? Let's start from how many workers do you have, or how many workers can work in an acre? I mean, somebody out there is probably green, they don't know.
Yeah, I know. It depends really on one person's style. I do not believe in overworking people like donkeys, you know. So we have both permanent staff, about 12 strong men, and I'm very grateful for them. But we also have casual laborers.
Who come in once in a while.
Yes, when we get overwhelmed by the weeds or with the weeds, we have, you can wake up today and you have 40 men on our farm, 40 people working on our farm. That is usually in the rainy seasons.
Okay.
We also have a tractor. If we feel like the weeds are growing very fast and the people are not clearing the bushes as fast as
we intended.
Yeah, then we bring in the tractor. If you look here, this is slashed. So we have a grass cutter or a lawnmower. That's also another way. So when you have human power covering a section of our farm, then we have the machine covering another section of our farm. And if that's not enough, then we bring in the tractor.
Okay.
And if that's not enough, then we bring in the casual laborers.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do different approaches.
Okay, 5 by 5 feet. Why exactly 5 by 5? Can I choose 6? Can I choose 4 by 4?
You could even do 10 by 10.
Why?
Why
the difference in, can't we have like a standardized distance?
My standardized and the most preferred, if you go into commercial, it's 5 by 5,
Okay.
because we're talking about yields. If you're going to invest in a 40 acre to clear the bush and to invest in all the labor and all the money expenses, you would love to have at least some income to cut even. But if you scatter them too much, that means your yields also drop.
Okay.
So if you say in an acre, if your projected income is 100,000, it's just an example, 100,000 shillings. I, with 160 trees, cannot harvest as much as you who have 50 trees in your acre. And another advantage with this avocado, it's not like other trees that really grow huge and wide, that the canopy covers or becomes together, attaches to each other very shortly. So because you can see this tree, it's not that wide, but you see the number of fruits that it has. So that way you can manage the canopy by, you can rather have a lot of trees in an acre without them actually affecting each other as far as sunlight and all that is concerned. And it's also easy to walk through when people are working, if you have a tractor, because we have tractors going through our farm and that. So you can walk through it, but at the same time you know that for accounts, you know that if I have my 150 trees and if a tree gives me 30 kilo a season and a kilo is this much, so it's easy to really plan and budget and know that I'm going to incur this much in labor. I'll put this in a manure and taking care of the trees, and it should be able to give me maybe 20 kilos a minimum. And if I have my 100 trees, then you multiply.
Okay.
So it's for basically planning purposes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody would ask, how much money do I need to start hash production? Take for example, I have my land already.
From my experience, and this I say it with good faith, I would not recommend that someone starts as big as I did, unless you have a tree in your compound that grows, that you just go and pluck some dollars or some shillings, because it's a very tedious and very expensive project. It's an expensive venture. Number one, when you start this big, like we did, you have to expect teething problems. The drought sets in, your water irrigation hasn't taken place, you lose a lot of trees. Then you have to replant. And if you don't have money, that means you cannot replant, you know. So I would recommend that someone starts small and they expand. You could start with 1 acre or 5 acres. In that's easy to manage. In that, even if you don't have a lot of manpower and the drought sets in, you can water by can. You can water your 200 trees, for example. Unlike me of more than 6,000 trees, you cannot take a can and water.
You honestly can't.
Exactly. So you tend to get overwhelmed every moment you start big. That's something I did, but I've learned from experience, which is why I'm sharing with you. I would never recommend that someone starts unless they already have infrastructure in place.
Okay.
And that's my husband's actually preferred way. Put water, put everything, and then plant. Okay. So once you have the infrastructure in place, you have your irrigation, you know it's running, the pump is not going to die because we have water now, but the pump can break down and you have 2 weeks. We don't have a lot of technicians to fix these irrigation pumps. I use solar. That 2 weeks in a drought, you lose a lot of trees. Okay. So to minimize the losses and the risks, start small and then grow.
How small should somebody start? Are we looking at an acre?
It depends on your pocket.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you have the money,
what would you recommend to be your small?
I would have started with 10 acres.
10 acres.
And rolled out. That is because due to the fact
why I'm asking that is because what makes business sense? Because again,
that's what I was going to answer.
Sure.
I would recommend 10 acres for starters, because unlike other countries like Kenya or South Africa that grow hass, in Uganda we're not there yet. So if you start with 1 acre, it will do very well, but the yields, you will not get enough volumes to export. Okay. I mean, an exporter is not going to. You cannot raise a container. I told you this is a product that takes 6 weeks before it hits the shelves. So if you cannot raise a container, it doesn't make business sense for someone to come here. But if you have 10 acres, at least maybe you can even transport it across the border, or you can sell it with our exporters here. They can take it. Them. Exactly. But if you have 1 acre, nobody is going to come and look at you, and you can't sell these locally. They're not yet popular, unfortunately. Oh. Yeah, they don't know the wonders. But in countries like Kenya, for example, even 1 tree, it's like coffee in Uganda. You can have 1 basin or one, even 10 cups of coffee. People will come on bicycles and they'll buy your coffee. You don't need to have a huge shamba to sell coffee. True. So Kenya with hass, they're like how we have our coffee. Someone starts with 10 trees and they get buyers and they progress. Okay. Unfortunately for us, we have to prove ourselves. We have to have enough volume for us to get buyers. So 10 acres would be really ideal. Okay. Yeah. So
let's start from there. 10 acres, how much money do I need? If I have my land, how much am I looking at to invest in the buying of the seedlings and a few other things at the farm that I might need? Roughly, I want somebody to get a rough estimate.
A rough estimate. Okay, so I can tell you that a seedling is between 8 and 10,000.
1 seedling?
Yes. So if you're putting 150 or 160 seedlings, you multiply by 10,000. Okay. And then, of course, you need transportation and all that. And then it depends where you get. Now we go to clearing the bush. If you want 10 acres, if you have tree stumps and all that, and the land has been virgin, you will need a grader. Okay. You know, the grader, you have to pay for the low bed, which costs, I think, 1 million to transport your grader. And I think every day that the grader is on your site, you use fuel that is around $640. After the grader, we had the tractor come in. And the tractor charges 100,000 per acre at that rate.
100,000 Uganda shillings?
Yes, per
acre. That's about...
so if it's 10 acres...
$30.
Yeah, so if it's 10 acres, you multiply again by that. And what I forgot...
yes.
What I forgot before the grader, we had to have people slash to reduce the bush because they were thickets. They were not even bushes. You've seen we still have some of the virgin land, like towards our macadamia section. We also have some macadamias here. Okay. So we have thickets, and the grader couldn't. So we had to have people, and then you have to make sure that you kill all anthills. I did not mention this. You have to make sure that you kill every anthill on your farm, because they really they harass the avocados. So you can plant and suddenly you wake up one morning and 10 trees are gone, and you've already spent so much money on them. And that again depends on where someone is, or the chemical, how many anthills you have in your farm, for example.
I hope you guys are following and you're making your calculations in whichever country you're in. We are trying to simplify for you. We may not give you a block figure because these things are varying. But to sum it up, I think if you had like 10,000 USD, you could probably start up something with for around 10 acres. What are the challenges you've so far incurred or encountered at your farm?
My biggest challenge is water. Water. For any tree growing, you need water, especially these type of trees, you need water. And then after that, it's labor. Especially when you're a remote farmer like me, you need labor and you need dedicated staff and management and trustworthy people. I mean, we have my backbone, she is called Sophia. She's
the manager, you mean?
No, she's our accountant. She deals with all our finances, and she's in Kampala. Because obviously, if someone is sick, they need Panadol, I cannot be in Denmark sending
and then send 1,000.
If 2 people don't have gumboots at the farm, I cannot be doing that. So she's that, and to do that, you need someone that is as dedicated as she is. She's really been the backbone of this farm. Also monitoring for someone to come and know that...
even if they're using WhatsApp calls, there are certain things that require human...
Exactly. They'll show you what you want to see.
Exactly. But when somebody comes here, that's supervision to say.
Yes, exactly.
So there is a person who's doing internal supervision.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Okay. But I cannot emphasize water more than enough. Okay. Challenges, water, especially if you're in an area like this.
Kasana.
Too much kasana. Too much
sunshine. Kasana means sunshine.
Exactly. Because we lost, I can tell you that the first time we planted 6,400 trees, I had a different management. After 6 to 8 months, I came here and we did the tree population. We had less than 2,200 trees out of 6,000.
Wow.
So we lost more than half, 3/4, you could say.
That's because of the drought?
Yes, and also the management. Okay. You know, when someone comes and there's one thing being the drought, but there's a manager who doesn't want to work under the sun. If it's 10 a.m. and the sun is too hot, they're leaving, and they leave the laborers to do whatever they wish. But also we did not have the water. You asked me about water. We didn't put it on our budget. That dam alone, it cost us about 32 million Ugandan shillings. Yes.
I need some energy to have that enter into my brain.
Yes.
32 million Uganda shillings. That's about roughly around 10,000 USD, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, slightly less than 10,000.
Yeah, because I know there's going to be some breakdowns and all that. So 10,000 USD.
But the advantage with our dam, because we also used a very good water engineer, we excavated up to the water table. Meaning, while other dams in our neighborhood
dry up,
we still have, because the moment the water level goes down, it comes up from the spring, from the ground. So that way we covered, and we're lucky to have...
So ladies and gentlemen, the 10,000 we talked about earlier was just for you to start. There was no water included. So you may not necessarily choose to have that big dam. You could have a borehole or a shallow well, whatever, for as long as you have a source of water. Isn't that so?
Water.
So, because we are still talking about the challenges, aren't there, like, you've encountered diseases attacking your plants?
Yes, we have.
Or they are not as big as the drought?
They are not as big as the drought.
Okay.
They're manageable. Okay. The only pest that we've had, it's called ambrosio beetle. Okay. It literally comes, sits on your avocado, lays eggs, and you think that it's gone. 6 months down the road, the whole tree, the whole farm is infected, and it goes inside the stems. So the tree starts drying from within, and then it's too late. So you have to treat it. Again, you cannot do this without a professional agronomist.
Okay.
And that's what I said, that we have been very happy with the white oak, the company that we bought seedlings with, because they actually follow you.
They give additional,
yes,
services.
until you harvest. Even the agronomist you just saw here a few minutes ago, he's from a white oak farm company.
Okay.
They follow you until the harvest, so they advise if there's a change in this, if there's a change in that.
So are there signs and symptoms of these diseases?
Yes.
Like we see in animals?
Yes.
Okay.
For example, if you look at leaves and they are perforated, if they have holes, tiny holes, then you know that there's an insect that is eating the leaves, and it should not be there.
Okay.
If you look at even a fruit, for example, I can show you this. Okay. This fruit, it was bitten by, I think, a fruit fly. Inside it's okay, but for export,
that one doesn't pass?
No, this has a blemish, so it doesn't pass. If you look at your tree or like around the branches, and it has a powdery outlook, whitish, that's either fungal infection or it's injury. Because if workers are working and they come with their hoe carelessly and they bruise it, it can also become sick. So it's very important even that when they are working, they do it actually in a way that they don't injure the trees. So it's you can look at your plants and you know what they need or what it is. And sometimes there are physical insects like those beetles, the ambrosial beetles. You'll find them patched on the leaves, on the plants themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the drought. So this because we've had a severe drought the whole Jan-Feb. If the water doesn't get enough water, it cannot maintain all the fruits that have.
So it kills a few.
It kills a few for
to
survival.
Be able to survive.
So this is the drought.
Oh.
Inshallah, now, like I said, we've had a lot of teething problems. Now we will know if it's flowering, we have to give it enough water, adequate water.
Let's talk about how to get the market. Is market readily available?
Yeah, it's.
Where can I get the market? I mean, you talked about exporting.
Yeah.
Are there exporters in Uganda?
There are exporters. I know a few exporters.
Okay.
But I also know a few Kenyan companies that. Personally, when I was planting my 40 acres, I had talked to some exporters in Kenya.
Okay.
And I wanted to see their willingness if they could cross to Uganda if I had enough volume. And they said yes, they could.
So, what you're trying to say is somebody should first look for market before they can venture into this.
Yeah. But there's the moment you get an exporter, you get certified. You could export.
Oh.
I mean, there's market in Europe. Like I said, this is a tropical tree. It cannot grow in Europe, and they are the ones who really want it most. Cosmetics everywhere. They want avocado oil because now people are going into healthy eating. Healthy fats. It has a lot of healthy fats. People cook with avocado oil, and only tropical countries can produce this. So as long as the consumers cannot produce it, there'll always be a market. Yes.
Ah, wow.
Yeah. The challenge is, let me say this, so as long as the consuming huge countries or the consumer powerhouse cannot produce it, we still have the market. The challenge is how to bond the farmer with the consumer. We don't have a lot of exporters for this now, but it could also be because that there hasn't been
a lot of people growing it.
Yeah, there's not enough volume.
Maria, how and when do I know that this is actually ready for plucking or exporting? Do I have like our local avocados?
Well, you have to shake it.
The moment you see the seed shaking, you know that it's ready. Does it apply to this as well?
Like I said before, this has a very tiny pit. It's called a pit, the seed. It has a very tiny pit, so it would not shake even if it was ripe already. But again, like I said, you need an agronomist.
Can't I? Because an agronomist comes here with, you have to pay them. Is that so? I want to eliminate all those costs. Haven't you reached to the point of knowing when this is ready?
I cannot test the water matter, because what an agronomist does, they come
with
pick,
their machines or what?
Yeah, they pick, yes.
Or they pick samples and then they take to laboratories.
They can even test it from here, or they can take it depending. And they shred, or they grate a few of these, and they test for the water matter. I think it has to be about 23%, and then they'll tell you that now it's ready for harvest. Again, not the entire tree, because if you look at this tree, for example,
they mature at different levels.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So they'll tell you now this phase is ready for picking, or for harvesting. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you pick and then you package them in boxes. Is that so?
It's not like that, because they will not accept them in Europe, for example.
Okay.
You have to pick them, and they have to go through the export quality control. They have to be washed and cleaned and dried and brushed, and then packed.
So it's
some
a whole
they go,
process.
yeah, it's a whole process. Some they go by sea, and then that means they have to be in refrigerated containers. Some they go by air. So depending what you choose, but they have to be cleaned and also washed, because
so that you don't transfer diseases from here to there.
Exactly. Diseases, all the dirt, bad droppings, and so that when you find it on a shelf in Europe or in wherever, Asia or Dubai or Middle East, that it really represents Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quality.
Is Hass growing something viable that you can recommend somebody to do?
Yes. I would. I think that's the future, actually.
Okay.
I think that's the future. When you look at other cash crops, I will not mention them, but some of them, a tree has a lifespan of 7 years,
Okay.
and you're replanting. Some have 15 years, and you have to replant. But the fact that this lasts for generations, and also the price. It fetches really very good price at an international market.
Talking about these avocados, how much is a kg if I'm selling it to an exporter?
If you're selling it to an exporter, and last year, the farm gate where they come to,
farm.
it was about 0.75 or 75 cents dollars, and I think about 5 of these or 6
make a kg.
Yeah. And according to projections, I haven't witnessed it myself, but when the tree reaches its maturity of about 7 to 10 years, it can give you about 30 kgs, one tree. Okay. So you can, like I said, I haven't experienced that, but from the research that I've made, yeah. Yes, what I wanted to say is that the avocado, it's globally, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. And it's not a commodity, something that anyone can grow, anyone can go and get. Only the few countries and few geographical locations that
are able to do that.
Even when, for example, when you look at Portugal, it's in Europe, but it has a semi-tropical weather, and South America, they don't have enough water. They have the weather, but they lack the water. But in Uganda, for example, we have both.
The weather and the water is
exactly. There. When it rains, it floods. Then harvest water and keep it for the dry season. Unlike other countries where they don't have, they rely on a river that is shared by a community and stuff like that. So there's conflict. And in Uganda, we don't have that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. We've been talking to Maria. Just your last word to any person watching before we say goodbye.
Any person watching, I would like to say, don't be afraid to start.
Okay.
As long as you have passion, don't go into agriculture purely for the purpose of making money. Have the passion. Like I said, my husband did not know anything about agriculture, but he trusted my vision. So if I was doing it just for fun, we would have lost a lot of money here. Okay. So you must have the passion for it and believe in yourself and start. Start small, but don't fail to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was Uganda Sukao. You've been a wonderful audience. Have a great time. If you haven't learned, then we shall learn another day. But I'm pretty sure you've learned. If you need her contact, I'll definitely be leaving it in the comment section, or you can reach me out on this number and I can share the number with you directly. Have a great time. Goodbye. See you.